You are about to enter the fantasy football show. Please stand by like a boss. Estás entrado al fantasía fútbol novelas. Espera con el patrón. Smitty is live Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern.
Get on-demand one-on-one text advice with Smitty at thefantasyfootballshow.com.
You are about to enter the fantasy football show. Please stand by like a boss. Estás entrado al fantasía fútbol novelas. Espera con el patrón.
Get on-demand one-on-one text advice with Smitty at thefantasyfootballshow.com.
You are about to enter the fantasy football show. Please stand by like a boss. Estás entrado al fantasía fútbol novelas. Espera con el patrón. Smitty is live Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern. You are about to enter the fantasy football show. Please stand by like a boss. Estás entrado al fantasía fútbol novelas. Espera con el patrón. You are about to enter the fantasy football show. Please stand by like a boss. Estás entrado al fantasía fútbol.
Live from the fantasyfootballshow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern.
What is going on, good people? You're watching the Fantasy Football Show. I got the gain going there. I'm your man Smitty, and we're talking best draft strategy in 2022. You guys probably, if you know me well, you know what I'm going to say, but I'm going to break it down, hopefully in different ways than you've seen before so that the content's new, but best player available is always my approach. But what's that mean? And does that mean you can't go running back? Does that mean you can't go wide receiver? Absolutely not. Best player available opens all those doors. It's your starting point. But before we get to the best way to draft in 2022 and take all your questions, we're going to hit the fantasyfootballshow.com news desk.
From the fantasyfootballshow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
First up, I know we talk about Deshaun a lot, but I tried my very best. Vamp, thank you for the super chat, good buddy. Vamp says, Smitty, it's my birthday. On that note, pal.
To the moon.
Appreciate you. Whoa, we're skipping ahead there. Vamp, happy birthday, buddy boy. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate you being a member of the community. All right, So basically, we have, new news trickling in all the time on Deshaun Watson. I try not to come in here like repeat myself. There's new information. There's always kind of a little bit of new information, a little bit of a twist, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So bear with me as we maybe summarize some stuff that's old, and I'll try and present it in a different way. This guy, Deshaun Watson, we're hearing reports, and it's very, very speculative. There's no concrete anything backing it up. There's just reports, and they kind of are. These reports have a source, and there's no everybody's got this source, but no one can state who the source is. And I've learned in my day that when you hear somebody say according to a source and you don't trust them, they aren't somebody that you have a proven track record of being able to nail things with a said quote unquote source. As much as we rip on Schefter, as much as we rip on some of the usual suspects, they have a track record of landing. They have a track record of missing too, but they have a track record of landing. So if like Schefter or Ian Rappaport came out and said, I'm hearing 6 to 8 games, I've got a source, that would be credible enough for us to report on. We question it a little bit, but we would definitely, it would be something that we would be taking more seriously than just a vague report that you hear a beat writer talking about. So this stuff, take it with a grain of salt, but there's rumors that a 6 to 8 game suspension is certainly a possibility, more so than people thought. People talking about this Judge Sue Robinson maybe looking at this from a different perspective. Is she going to come in really low in the NFL? That Roger Goodell going to have to appeal and really make a statement and circumvent this system that they've set up, where there's a independent party, a retired judge, kind of in the in-between person. I'm hearing that the NFL does not want a controversy on their hands, so I'm hearing that whatever Sue Robinson recommends, unless it's something ridiculous like 1 game, the NFL is probably not going to push back too much on. They're not going to appeal to Roger Goodell, or if they appeal to Roger Goodell, which could happen, then Roger Goodell may not overstep and say, even though he has full authority to do that, he can be the judge, jury, and executioner. Even though he set up this independent process, he really does. Once there's deemed punishment and an appeal goes to him, he can go, Sue Robinson said 6 to 8, indefinite. I don't think Goodell's going to do that, because that undermines what he set up, and it's going to look really bad to be like, okay, Sue Robinson, we're not going with your recommendation. Do you know how much crap Roger Goodell would get if he just said, we're not taking your advice? He would get dragged through so much bad publicity. He's better off going 6 to 8. Okay, we'll give him 10, or we'll give him 6 to 8. He can't go indefinite off 6 to 8. He just can't. So if this is true, it would be crazy, because I think the only thing you can do in this situation, and you can come at me all you want and say innocent until proven guilty. I agree with all that. The funny part is when people come at me and say that, I agree with them. They're like, innocent until proven guilty, Smitty. Agreed. He still violated the league's personal conduct policy on an issue that is unraveling before our very eyes. How can a league make a determination on something that has a year, or not a year, but till March, I think it's March 15 of 2023 next year, that any of the 60 plus people that were involved in this situation with Deshaun Watson met with over 60 people reportedly, some say 100. And 20 settlements just happened. You know that his attorney's probably reaching out to people that were on the fence of maybe even coming forward and didn't. Like, it's a stretch, I think, to assume that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more cases don't pop up between now and March 15. And when you have an open door like that, how does the league make a finite decision on what the suspension should be when any new case that I know you can't really make a case based on what if. Like, I get that argument, but I just don't. You'd have to have some kind of, like, if another case pops up, then we do this all over again. You can't make a blanket decision on a behavior when there's different people involved. So if someone goes out and slugs somebody on the street and they get a punishment, Roger Goodell, this is my example. Roger Goodell says, you're out for 10 games for punching Bob on the street. And then footage comes out later that the person went out and slugged Phillip and hit him. That's a different individual. That's a different situation. You can't just go, well, we already punished him for punching people in the streets. He already punched Bob. What's the difference? He punched Phillip. He punched Ted. He punched Mickey over in the corner. He punched the Bruce. The Bruce, if you have these different situations, you can't just make a punishment for one and then throw all the other ones in it. They're separate. So that's my thinking with this. By the way, happy 4th of July. Happy 4th of July. Here's the interesting stuff. Here's some new stuff that I think nobody is talking about other than we saw a little bit of this on the McAfee show. That there is a 1-year, $45 million signing bonus that Deshaun Watson got for year one, right? With a $1 million salary. The first 2 seasons of his contract are completely locked in. Now, it's a guaranteed deal. I know a lot of people say they throw that term around. There's verbiage in the contract that potentially protects year 3 and 4 of misbehaviors that are new. So, meaning there's what one side would argue is that if new cases emerged after year 1 and 2, that you could potentially void or go after trying to collect or withhold future amounts in the contract of Deshaun Watson. But there's verbiage in there that actually protects Watson for the first 2 years. The first 2 years are completely protected and have no verbiage whatsoever to any misdeeds or misbehavior in the now or in the future. And so his $45 million is obviously already given to him with a $1 million salary. The $1 million salary is what the NFL could potentially try to argue in court, whatever, to hold or withhold due to misbehaviors. That's why the year 1 of Watson's contract was designed this way. It's Watson friendly. $45 million, take it now. Okay, and then we'll leave $1 million in the salary department, which can be potentially withheld via suspension by the NFL. His first 2 years are completely airtight. The money's his. They can't do a single thing about it. Here's the interesting part, though, that no one is talking about, and I heard it on a few different places. One, McAfee talked about it. He had an individual come on and break down the contract. If Watson misses 2022, the entire season, year 1 of his contract actually starts in 2023. So Watson's $45 million that he keeps. He actually gets his $1 million in 2023, meaning his salary he doesn't get the $1 million this year. He's suspended, and then if he's suspended the whole year, and then the next year he gets his $46 million. He actually would not start year 1, which would be $1 million. He would only get $1 million. Now, granted, cry me a river, you already got $45 million, but that is an interesting component to this because what does that do for the Browns? What's that do for the cap? What's that do for how they can maybe, are they better off having Watson miss an entire season than to come back and get a accrued year and then have to pay him 40? I don't know how it's going to work financially. There's accountants that just sit there and mess with this stuff all day. But it's an interesting component to this. But Watson's first 2 years are fully guaranteed no matter what you want to argue in terms of the verbiage in the contract. Now, Kareem Hunt came out and said that this is a big distraction. It's a stressful situation. The team is preparing for Brissett to be the starting quarterback in 2022 in week 1. Kareem Hunt mentioned that basically they have to prepare for if Brissett's under center, then they got to prepare for if Watson's under center, and literally trying to prepare for 2 different situations that require a whole bunch of different things on each side of that avenue. On that avenue, like what do you do? How do you block for Watson? What kind of plays can you have for Watson, not Brissett? Now, granted, Watson's a crafty guy, so it sounds like there won't be too much to maneuver and manipulate if one quarterback's in there or another. But Kareem Hunt's telling you himself that it is stressful, and they are having to do some preparations for one versus the other. And the interesting part is he had no words at all in regard to Baker Mayfield being the commander. It was all Brissett. So Baker's as good as gone. Baker will be with another team in 2022, just based on what the players are saying based on this thing's gotten worse, and the team's not only not talked about Baker, they've excused him from activities in the middle of when it's been getting the worst. Baker's gone. Baker's gone. Even if they say he's out for the year, Watson, I don't think they're going to try and maybe like figure out what they've already moved on. They're prepping and preparing, according to Kareem Hunt, for a Brissett-led Week 1 squad. So, and on the note of Kareem Hunt, he's 100% healthy, according to himself. And he looks pretty good from what I hear. And I've seen some footage of him. He looks smooth. He doesn't look hampered at all. And this situation is going to make it pretty hard on, I think, the run game if it's going to be between the tackles only without any kind of PPR work from the running backs, you know. So it seems like Hunt's going to be more involved than I think anybody's expecting. And the weird thing about that is that Kareem Hunt is falling into a steal territory again. Kareem Hunt is no longer being drafted as a 4th round standalone running back 2/high-end flex. He was going there for years. We could not cuff Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb together. Now you can cuff them together. Now this duo can be had in the cuff scenario, which, you know, Tony Pollard, Elliott. Really, it's Pollard and you cuff Elliott to him, to be honest. You now have a cuff. You now have a cuff again to Nick Chubb. Congratulations, all you Nick Chubb owners out there. Go cuff Kareem Hunt. I'm not drafting Nick Chubb in 2022 unless he falls to like the bookend 2-3 picks. I like 2.10. I probably would take him if all the right players were gone and only the wrong players were sitting in front of me. I tend to think I would find. I'd almost rather go with like a crazy early quarterback approach at 2.10 and take Josh Allen than to take Nick Chubb. I would rather have Breece Hall as my running back than Nick Chubb. And you can call me crazy all you want. We heard all that about Najee Harris last year. And I love when I say that Breece Hall is this year's Najee Harris. People laugh at it. They laugh at it. Just like they laughed at us saying Najee Harris was the Najee Harris of 2021. It's funny that people think they can laugh at something like that when they didn't support you liking Najee as the Najee. Najee is Najee. Finkel is Einhorn. Einhorn is Finkel. And Breece Hall is Najee Harris 2022. It's the 2021 version of him, and I'm all on board. Nick Chubb, on its face, it feels like Nick Chubb is set up to do well, right? That's kind of what you would think, right? Just like Kelsey's going to do great. Tyreek Hill's not there. Kelsey's going to do amazing. They're just going to feed Kelsey. Not so fast. Travis Kelsey, you could only water a plant so much. Travis Kelsey is going to face tougher defensive coverage. He's going to be double teamed more. He's going to get harder hit by the top defensive players on a team versus spreading things out. Who do we cover? Hill. We got all these weapons we got to worry about. Now it's Kelsey. It's Travis Kelsey. I'm not saying there aren't wide receivers on the roster that defense has got to worry about, but you can make certain that a team is going to let the Chiefs beat them with Sky Moore and Juju and MVS and wide receivers that are going to come in trying to learn one of the most complicated systems in the entire NFL. This playbook is one of the toughest playbooks in the entire National Football League. And everyone just thinks that running backs are going to come in like a Ronald Jones type or MVS or Juju and just be fire right out of the gate. It's going to take a lot of rapport building and learning the playbook and the system to be effective in this Kansas City offense. It's going to be Travis Kelsey and Mahomes trying to play catch with defenses trying to get in the way. And so the same thing can be said about Nick Chubb. Okay, Nick Chubb, okay, you got Watson. Watson potentially out for the year. They're going to run the ball. It's their only play. Brissett's going to do okay. He's going to try and keep defenses as honest as he can. I don't know that it's going to be successful all year long. They're not keeping their backup plan in Baker Mayfield. They'd rather get rid of him. What happens when Brissett can't go the distance? What happens if he gets banged up? He's not proven longevity-wise. Now you don't have Baker. This whole situation could collapse. And if defenses are stacking the box to say, let Brissett beat us, which if I'm a defensive coordinator or a defensive player, that's on my mind. Hey, let's lock down this run, which is tough, and let's let Brissett beat us. And if he beats us, he beats us. But every game, Brissett win the game. They're going to stack the box. What's probably going to happen, if you ask me, is that Nick Chubb is going to struggle to get a lot of good room to run. He's going to get volume, and he's going to get overworked. And then Kareem Hunt's going to be leaned upon once the team realizes they need to do something different. They can't just pound the rock against defenses that know it's coming, stacking the box and letting Brissett try and beat him. I think Kareem Hunt somehow finds a way into the lineup for starting multiple games due to some sort of injury to Nick Chubb. I don't think he'll unseat Nick Chubb. I'm not saying that, but Nick Chubb is going to have to do a lot. He's going to have a lot harder job in front of him in 2022. This is not a good opportunity. I'll never understand when like a quarterback goes down and people think they gravitate toward, this is great. They're going to use the run. They're going to absolutely feed the running back. I never understand why someone chooses the simplicity of an offense like that over a balanced attack that keeps a defense spread out and then you get efficiency. Nick Chubb won't be as efficient. Nick Chubb won't be as efficient without Watson in there. With Watson in there, he would have a much higher yard per carry number. He would have a lot more touchdown opportunities. He'd be in the red zone a lot more frequently. He would probably catch more passes. Now you have Nick Chubb being focused on, fed the football. He's going to see 8-man fronts. He's going to get hit harder. He's going to get hit hard more than ever. And Kareem Hunt might be the alternative plan if that doesn't work. Not to supplant him from the lineup, but to say, hey, let's get this guy in a 50-50 rotation and have him catching football so we can kind of spread things out. I really like Kareem Hunt, and I love that he's falling to territory where you literally can draft him around like Madison, a little bit above Madison and Pollard, who I love Pollard. But this is where you're getting Kareem Hunt now. Pollard and Kareem Hunt are probably in the same area. Like, you're lucky if you get him in round 7, but you can get him in round 7. You can get both of these guys in round 7. You can sometimes get one of them in 7 and 8. It's pretty dependent on the league of people you're drafting with. But this is crazy. This is crazy. All right, let's get to the best draft strategy in 2022, and I'm gonna answer some phone voicemails while we do this. Best player available is really, really important to understand before you start judging it, and a lot of people say something really uneducated about best player available when they rip on it, because they think what I mean by best player available is to just draft the best player on the rank list. So if you're in the 3rd round, let's say you're drafting right here, and here's the pre-rank list, a lot of people think what I'm saying by best player available is to draft this guy. Okay, take the guy that's at the top of the list. That's not what I'm saying. The guy that I draft here might be ranked right here. This might be Breece Hall. And I would reach for Breece Hall if he's the best player available. What constitutes the best player available? The guy that can climb up draft boards the easiest, and the guy that has a really low floor, meaning hopefully you're drafting him at a place at his lowest, even if he disappoints, even if Hall shares carries for half of a season. Breece Hall is an absolute monster steal anywhere in round 4. So if you're taking Breece Hall right here, that has all the risk completely, utterly, 100% baked in. If you draft Breece Hall right here in the 3rd round, it's still pretty well baked in. He'd have to literally get 50% of the work all year to really screw you out of this return on investment. But if he, let's say, shares carries for 4, 5, 6 weeks and then explodes from week 6 on, he can climb up into being a top 15 overall scorer in 2022. And I absolutely love Breece Hall. Breece Hall is the definition of best player available when you're drafting. So when people say best player available, it doesn't work. Or you got to draft based on, getting running backs. That's hogwash to me. If this is round 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, sometimes best player available can have you drafting something like where you go wide receiver, you go QB, and then you don't get your RB1 until round 4. And then you think, oh, I have to go back-to-back running back, don't I? No, you don't. You don't have to do anything. You can do whatever you want. You could go back to wide receiver if that wide receiver is the best player available. The best player available approach will oftentimes leave you, here are your wide receivers, here's your running back, here's your flex, here's your tight end. The best player available will a lot of times leave you with home runs at a lot of your spots, but maybe you're weak at one of your drafts or one of your lineup spots right there, versus being on a team that has potentially a good spot here. Let's say you go running back, you really want to crush your spots, your running back spots, and then you're mediocre here, you're really good here, mediocre here. This is what a lot of running back people end up building, is a team where they're monster running backs and they're just weak everywhere else. Even here, they might be mediocre. It might literally put them, because they're chasing quarterback all draft, they're chasing wide receiver all draft, they're chasing tight end all draft, because they focused heavy here. That's what sometimes happens. Now, if you're in the 12 pick, you can easily draft a well-balanced team. That's why best player available is so amazing, because if you don't force it, sometimes you can draft. Let's say best player available says, okay, I'm going to get Diggs, and let's get Adams, or whatever order. Okay? You're at the 12 pick. So this is 12, this is 13 overall. Now you come back around, Breece Hall's there, ETN's there. ETN might not be there in your league. That's okay. But even if, let's say, ETN's no longer falling, but you get Breece Hall and you get Burrow, or let's say Herbert, you're killing it here, you're killing it here, you're killing it here. In my opinion, you're crafty here, and this is where you may differ. You may say, give me ETN here. That's fine. Do whatever you feel is killing it. This is like a quiet kill. You're killing it, but some people might not agree. You're weak here, maybe, and you're maybe weak here, and you're probably good here. You're mediocre there, but you're crushing it at multiple draft slots. When you go best player available, a lot of the times you have 4 really nice home runs. Really nice home runs. Maniac says Diggs and Adams are both overrated this year, Smitty. Good God, Maniac, I didn't know. Thank you so much for enlightening me, bro. It's opinion, Maniac. Not to mention, replace him with whoever you want, okay? Use the process, not the actual player, Maniac. I mean, you know what I'm saying here. This is wide receiver. So if you like lamb chops, and I don't know, put Debo in. Whatever you like, bro. Like, use your imagination, okay? Now, if you were to go, let's say, running back. Let's say you take Javonte and Swift. If it's natural, if it's best player available, then you will have the wide receivers fall naturally, and you'll end up with something like this, which is absolutely phenomenal. Or if it's not Waddle, it could be McLaurin. You know, sometimes McLaurin falls to the 3rd round, so you make him your 3rd rounder. He falls to the 4th round. If not, take Waddle in the 4th round. This would be your 1. This would be your 2. You're absolutely balanced. Best player available made me not scared to go running back because I'm going to naturally keep taking the best player available. I'm not going to force myself. Where people get in trouble is they take, like, let's say you're in the middle of round 2 and they do this BS right here. They take Eckler, which is fine in round 1. And they're like, I have to go running back. I have to be a running back person. So the best running back there is Fournette. And then after I got that, you get to the middle of the third round, and it's like, who's the best player available? We're looking at the third round. Third round's got players like, let's say they go Higgins in round 2. I got to go wide receiver now because I went running back. And let's say the wide receivers aren't falling. Breece Hall's there. ETN's there. Guys you really like that are best player available, capable of being the best guy to explode from their positions there. But you force yourself to take the best wide receiver because now you're drafting after freaking positions and not players. You can't draft a position. You've got to draft a player. If you start drafting positions, you're going to lose. You're going to walk out with a team that looks very much like this, where some of you, like Brian, is going to like this. This is not a strong team, in my view. And some people will force like a Barkley right here. Risky. If it's me, I would much rather walk out with a team. Najee. Sometimes Debo falls to the middle of round 2. I would much rather, even if I went early quarterback, I would much rather start off with these 3 than start off with Eckler, Fournette, and Higgins. Give me Allen, Najee, Debo. And let's say Debo didn't fall. I'd even take this, even though I worry a little bit about Tyreek Hill. I take that all day long over Fournette. Let's just keep Najee the same and keep it consistent. Najee, Fournette, and Higgins, no way are they better than Allen, Hill, and even this. If you were to go Hill, this is what we did in the throne draft. We had JT. We got JT, Hill, and Hall. And that's best player available. When you go best player available, that leads you down a path that then opens up to Herbert. Opens up to Mike Williams. Then you get a Hopkins and an Ayuk as your flex. Or your wide receiver 3 as your flex. Pollard. Well, Smitty, how do you build a team like that? That's you can't build that team. That's what we built in the throne draft. That's our exact throne draft right there. JT, Hall, Herbert, Hill, Mike Williams, Hopkins, Ayuk, Pollard. That's our team in the throne draft. Fournette is a huge avoid. Absolutely, Roger. I'm telling you right now, Fournette has no upside from the second round. You are going to be in trouble if you draft Fournette in round 2. And I believe you're smart to draft Barkley in the third round or not at all. I wouldn't be telling you to take my Fournette still got it. Axe. Welcome, Dynasty Fournette owner. Appreciate you being here, Axe. It's okay. Just admit it. Yeah, 0. Joel Diaz has it right. 0 upside for Lenny in the second round. You guys are out of your mind drafting Leonard Fournette, disappointment maker, in round 2. What is it about Leonard Fournette in round 2 that some people defend? How on earth can you defend Leonard Fournette in round 2? Somebody call the phone line right now. Brian, I want you to call the phone line right now and defend Leonard Fournette in round 2. Somebody call in with a sound argument. Oh, Brady loves him. Okay, so you're pretty confident Brady didn't have something to do with them drafting Rachaad White because he wanted a better pass catcher behind him catching footballs. You're pretty confident about that? Call into the show.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Call into the show. Dial 602 NFL. Down.
Yeah, I'm 100%. This is our throne team right here. Absolutely phenomenal. Look at that squad. I'm with you, bro. What do you say, Fournette? Let's see. What about Mark Andrews? I mean, he's okay in the third round, but not in the second round. I'm with Devin. Devin says, I hope somebody in my league drafts Fournette in round 2. Big LOL. Bro, people are doing it left and right. His ADP is now climbing into round number 2. It's at the bottom of round 2. It's absolute asinine. It's the worst. Fournette in round 2 is the worst pick in fantasy football. That is the worst pick in fantasy football. That's worse than taking Alvin Kamara at 2.2 like in our throne draft. Alvin Kamara got taken at 2.2, likely facing a 6 to 8 game suspension. That it's a worse draft selection to take Leonard Fournette in round 2. I don't even understand it. I can't even comprehend it. It doesn't even make sense to me. And not just people are doing it. His ADP's there. That means people are doing it in droves. And I don't get it whatsoever. Nobody can give me a sound argument other than, I mean, Tom Brady likes him. Tom Brady likes him. You talked to Tom Brady, apparently. I would love to know. Somebody call in and defend Leonard Fournette in round 2. I'm waiting. Somebody call in. Somebody call in. Rachaad White was drafted for a reason. Rachaad White said, I'm not here to be a backup. I'm here to start. And yeah, maybe Fournette's gotten in shape pretty quickly because there are photos of him where he looks a lot more lean and slender the last couple days, the last week. But he showed up overweight and he showed up dropping footballs. And the guy they drafted behind him is the best pass catching back to come out of college in the last couple years, maybe for longer than that. This Rachaad White character is one of the best receiving backs we've seen come out of college, maybe in 5 years. Rachaad White is going to be on the field. He's elusive. He's electric. He makes defenders miss. You can't take him down with one tackle. He's creative. He gets extra yardage. He's got a nose for the end zone. He's slippery. He's bigger than Alvin Kamara. He plays like Alvin Kamara. And Leonard Fournette has disappointed his entire career. And yeah, he gets revived here and there. You're live on the Fantasy Football Show. Who am I talking to?
You're talking to the Bruce.
The Bruce. What's up, the Bruce?
You needed someone to defend the Lenny pick or argue for it, so I'll do it, even though I'm not a Lenny fan.
Okay, so why are you doing it then? Why are you putting yourself in that position?
Listen, I'm just going to defend him saying this. Rachaad White is Tom Brady's James White that he had in New England that just came in on passing downs. And this is my belief. I think that's it. And then Lenny's going to do all the other stuff. And when Lenny came in out of shape, he says, I come in out of shape all the time to this. During training camp, I'm in shape.
Yeah, but
how? I don't.
Yeah, that. See, as you get older, if you put your body in a position where you got to keep every offseason getting back into shape, it takes a toll,
right?
And it leads to injury. He's not a young spring chicken anymore. Leonard Fournette is going to eventually, maybe he goes one more year before it happens. But there's he's been in the league for since 2017. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This will be a 6th season. Running back shelf lives are very short. He's taken a beating. He's faced a lot of 8-man fronts. Most of his work is done up the gut. He doesn't pull in a lot of passes. He did have a year where he pulled in 76 balls. And had a really good receiving year that year, and then they got rid of him. They got rid of him off his best season ever. He had his best season. He caught 76 balls for 522 in Jacksonville, and they got rid of him that offseason. That's how much of a locker room cancer he's been and been a problem. And I'm not saying he hasn't cleaned up his act and tried to behave over in Tampa, but for everybody to just assume a guy coming off of what do you have, 811 on the ground and 8 TDs is a lock to hold off one of the most talented running backs in the draft class and the most talented PPR catcher in this draft class, this running back draft class in 2022. They want to feed him. Rachaad White's going to be the guy by midseason that starts getting all the third down work and all the receptions. And so then you're left with, in PPR, a running back that doesn't get and catch passes. And that, like, even if Fournette were to stay the first and second down player, he's going to be so much devalued in the second half of the season when Rachaad White's taking over all the PPR work. So, and then you have people say pass protection, he's not going to learn it. Look, Rachaad White came in hungry, the Bruce. He's going to learn whatever he needs to learn.
My thing is, well, when Brady was there, James White was, I think, his most successful PPR back because he caught all the passes. But I think that's what he's thinking of doing in here. You're going to be my running back. You're going to be my catching back. So you know what they're going to do.
The Bruce, how many games do you think Fournette played in 2020?
2020, how many games? I'd give him 14.
13.
I don't give him the whole season.
Yeah, 13. He played. No, this was in 2020. He had 13 games. 2021, he's played 14 games. Played 8 games in Jacksonville in 2018. Played 15 games in 2019. Played 13 games in 2017. He doesn't play full seasons, and this is a guy that comes in out of shape, dropping footballs, and like you said, the argument for people is he gets into shape. Eventually that's not going to work, and my guess is it's going to be this year because he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seasons under his belt. That's a lot of mileage for a running back that takes the beating like he takes up the gut. Bigger running backs, he's kind of a thicker dude. Heavier you are, the harder it is to fall. You what?
Yeah, he's like a Derrick Henry-esque, bigger guy, runs the ball. Then they get hurt and their career's done.
Let me tell you something, the Bruce.
Yeah.
To the moon.
Rachaad White to the moon, the Bruce. Rachaad White to the moon.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, anything else before I
get to the moon?
I'm going to try and get somebody else on here to defend Fournette, so you got anything else?
I have one more thing. With all these weapons in... Oh, actually, I left a voicemail of this, but why is Jamar Chase stock going down? Like, I've seen him start falling from... He was like a 1 to 6 pick, and now he's like 10, 11, 12. I mean, not that I don't enjoy that. I enjoy him falling. I can pick later and get him.
Yeah.
So, I didn't know why he was... his stock was dropping. Like, is there a reason?
For which player are you talking about now?
Jamar Chase.
Oh. His stock isn't really falling that much. I mean, it is weird that he'll go at 7 or 8 instead of 5, but I think outside of our community, he's been going around 6, 7, 8. I think we're the only ones that have him like 3 or 4.
Yeah, because I just did a mock yesterday, and I had picked 10 the past 2 times. And the first time I took him, and then he was back. And I'm like, you know what? It's a mock. I just want to see how far he falls. He fell to pick 13.
Yeah. Hey, Bruce, call me. Bruce, call me back if you got another thing. I'm gonna take a couple other calls to see who can defend Fournette.
Yep.
All right, call back. Bye.
All
right, dial in. You're live on the Fantasy Football Show.
Hey, what's up, Smitty? This is Axe.
What's up, Axe?
All right. Hey, listen. Last year, this is why I know year by year they have players that's at their peak, and a year could totally change and they can go down. But last year I started listening to you, and I draft according to, how you see things. And I took Lenny in one of my leagues in the 8th round. And that was the best pick I could have taken because he came through for me last year.
Who are you talking about?
Who
you talking about?
Talking about Fournette.
Oh, Fournette. Yeah, but Fournette later, right. This is like Connor. Connor's great late, and then you have a lot of the risk baked in. It's all upside. Like you're not going to get me here in retrospect try to tell you that Fournette was a bad pick last year late in your draft. But when you're taking him in round 2, last year doesn't matter.
Yeah, I understand.
You know what I mean? Like it comes down. Like Connor. Connor shouldn't go at the top of 3 or even the middle of 3. Like I get Connor. Nobody liked Connor more than I did, Axe. Nobody. I challenge anybody to bring me, DM me on Instagram, any footage of anybody talking up Connor more than I did, because there is nobody. Nobody even knew he really existed. He was a backup running back on the Pittsburgh Steelers roster, and I put him on my top 5 bold predictions the year that Lev Bell held out, but there was no sign. Even I didn't think Lev Bell was going to hold out. I wrote the prediction before Lev Bell even talked about holding out. My prediction was on the back of Lev Bell getting hurt or an opportunity arising, and he was in my top 5. That means out of 5 predictions that I'm going to give my content people, I literally wasted one of them on a backup running back that had no shot to start. That's how much I love James Conner. And I said he'd win leagues, and then they started talking about contracts. It wasn't even a holdout threat yet. Lev Bell held out, and Conner won people leagues. That prediction, I dropped it on CBS Sports Radio. That prediction is one of the biggest predictions I've hit on because it came out of nowhere. I love this guy, Conner, and what he was dealing with, coming back from cancer, just all the adversity, just had heart. But every time you draft him and you pay the price, he disappoints. And I'm not saying he can't earn 4th or 5th round value. He scored a lot of touchdowns last year. But just like Fournette, people drafted Conner late, and it was a great pick. But I don't know that I want to make him my 3rd round pick. You know what I'm saying?
Right, I understand. Yeah, I understand. I understand what you're saying. And look, I'm listening to you because every year things are subject to change, because players go up and they go down,
Yeah, and
I'm receiving your take on that,
And let me also just to play devil's advocate to my point, but also hammer home my point at the same time. Can you see my board right now? Are you watching on YouTube? I know there's about a 10-second delay, but
nah, I'm gonna review it though. I'm not looking. So right now.
I'm drawing a circle here. It's a little pie chart. Okay, this is Lenny.
Uh-huh.
Lenny being worth a 2nd round pick in hindsight. So this would be me being wrong. What is the percentage chance that Leonard Fournette could be worth a 2nd rounder in hindsight? I would probably say a 10 to 15% chance that he could be worth a 2nd rounder in hindsight. Now, what does that tell you? Because this is what people I think can't grasp. And thank you, Rock Out, for the super chat. People can't grasp this. They think I'm saying 100%. They think I'm going to feel bad about myself, that I'm going to crawl in a hole and act like, oh my God, I can't believe I missed on Fournette. I'm literally telling you that Fournette can be a 2nd rounder. He can be worth a 2nd rounder. It's just a low percent. And can you hit that? Can you flip a coin? And you flip a coin, it's 50-50 every time you flip it. Is there a chance you could flip a coin heads 10 straight times? Of course there's a chance, but the odds are extremely against it. The odds are extremely against Lenny being a top 20 overall player in 2022. But is it possible? Am I going to feel like I just completely crapped the bed on this prediction? No, because there is a chance. There's a chance for almost anything. But when you play these bad odds every time you're on the clock, this is where best player available comes in. On the board here, you're on the clock in round 2. Here's round 2. Leonard Fournette's there. Leonard Fournette's got a 10% chance. I mean, these are my numbers, right? I could be wrong on my numbers. But if Leonard Fournette's got a 10 to 15%, let's even put a 20% chance of being worth this pick. But you sit there and you say, okay, I've got a player like, name a player in the 2nd that you love, Axe. Anybody you love?
Javonte.
Okay, let's just say Javonte falls. Javonte in round 2 to me has a 90. We'll be conservative and say 90% chance of earning his value from the 2nd round, and very strong odds of exploding and being worth the 1st rounder. That's best player available in a nutshell. Fournette's an awful pick in the 2nd round, not because he can't do it, but because he probably won't, and you have to play the odds game. Javonte can crush anywhere in this round 2 area, whether it's 2.1, 2.4. If you get Javonte Williams as your 2nd drafted player anywhere in round 2, you have such a huge advantage on every single person in your league. You have an odds game you're playing. That's what best player available is. It is not about Is Leonard Fournette 100% a bust in round 2? No, he's not 100% a bust in round 2, but he's not a good bet. He's not. Is Barkley good in round 2? I would say that's a 50-50, odds that you're playing there. Could he be worth the second rounder? I'm saying yes, he could, 50%. But when you've got a Javonte 90%, when you've got other players that feel more locked and loaded, let me tell you this. I firmly believe that at the end of the second round, where we've got Breece Hall. So here's round 2. The Bruce with a super chat. I'll get your super chats on screen. 1 second. Breece Hall at the end of round 2 right here. You can't even see that. Hold on. Round 1, round 2. Breece Hall at the end of round 2. I believe, and this is me. I know I'm different. I know everybody's got different takes. I respect everybody's different take. But Breece Hall, to me, has, in my opinion, a 75% chance or higher of earning this draft value right here. Maybe even along the 80%, maybe even higher. I'd have to really dig into it. These are really quick off the cuff type, numbers. But that is a huge risk or low risk, high reward type proposition. And that's how I feel. I understand some people might feel that Barkley is that same percentage. And if you do trust your gut, I do not. I say Barkley 50-50 at best of returning second round value. Breece Hall. Now let me be blatantly clear. Do I think anyone should draft Breece Hall in round 2 that doesn't need to? Absolutely no. If you think Breece Hall in round 2 is what I'm trying to get you to do and not get him in round 3 or especially round 4, you're out of your mind. But if you're at back-to-back picks like we were in the throne draft, tell me how we made a mistake. Anybody in here, tell me how we made a mistake by making Breece Hall our 3.1 pick. That's essentially the end of the second round. But we had all the running backs getting scooped up. Breece Hall can crush it from that 3.1 draft slot.
I understand. Yes, sir. I understand. Appreciate you, Smith.
Appreciate you.
All right.
Yep. Now everybody's going to think differently, and that's fine. That's why we do what we do. These Mexican Cokes are phenomenal. I absolutely love them. Mexican Cokes made with real sugar. Absolutely love them. Yeah, I'm not taking them at 3.1. Matt, that's okay. You don't have to. That's the problem that when people hear it, they think I'm saying that's where you target them, and I'm not. Anybody that takes Breece Hall at 3.1 when they can get him later needs to take a lap. Anybody that is facing a running back crunch and there's no players there at 3.1, Breece Hall is a smash. Breece Hall will climb into round 2 by September. He'll climb into the 2.10 to 2.12. Breece Hall will become one of the most favorite picks of people walking into late August or mid-August into September. Breece Hall will climb up like Najee did. I don't think he'll climb to 14 or 15. He will climb into the end of round 2, and everyone's going to forget their little objection to Breece Hall as a second or third round pick, or especially the third round pick. Breece Hall's a smash anywhere inside round 3. But the later you get a player that can smash from round 3, the better. Why on earth would anybody not want Breece Hall in round 4? And it depends on your draft slot too, because if you're drafting at 3.1, you don't have the luxury of waiting for Breece Hall. Because if you look at the board again, let's see here. If you're drafting at the end of 2, that means you have a top of the third round draft selection. If you're there, that means you're drafting here, and you're drafting in round 5 right here. If you're drafting where we drafted, where you get JT, right here we got Tyreek Hill. Right here we took Breece Hall, which our team is absolutely phenomenal. You have almost zero chance of watching Breece Hall fall all the way to your 4.12 if he's ranking really high on the pre-rank list. This is what it makes me infuriated when people don't listen to what I'm saying. And I'm not saying anybody in here is doing that exactly. I'm saying that I'm going to deal with it later in DMs, in comments, whatever, where people are going to say, yeah, you can't take Breece Hall at 3. Like, they're going to be their phrase. Yeah, you can't take Breece Hall at 3.1. You can take Breece Hall at 3.1. We did take Breece Hall at 3.1. You'll absolutely want to wait until he falls here or here if you have a draft slot that's drafting at 3.10, 3.7, or 3.10, or 4.2, or 4.3. But if you're drafting at 3.1 and you can't trade, and you've got 4.12 and you got 3.1, how the heck are you going to get Breece Hall onto your roster when he's as the 5th ranked running back left on the board when you're on the clock at this pick? If he's the 25th ranked player when you're on the clock because of the pre-rank list, people don't understand. Everything is about the pre-ranked list. Absolutely everything. Fournette's going in round 2 because he's ranking high on the pre-rank list. Joey's subscribed to the show.
Let's go, mashed potatoes.
Appreciate that, Joey. Appreciate that, Joe boy. Appreciate you. Leonard Fournette's going high because he's ranked high. It's that simple. Breece Hall is going in round 4 because he's ranked in round 4 on the pre-rank list. It drives me nuts that nobody's looking at it from this perspective. If somebody took Breece Hall and moved him up on Underdog Fantasy, which you can go to thefantasyfootballshow.com, click on the Underdog banner, or use promo code Smitty, or click the link in the description, which is linked to code Smitty, and start drafting Breece Hall while you can before he falls out of round 3 and 4 value. If Underdog Fantasy took Breece Hall and they stuck him at an ADP on the pre-rank list at 3.2, he would go on average at 2.12 to 3.04. Everything has to do with the pre-rank list. It influences so many magazine drafters and fantasy Karens out there that literally they get pressured into taking who the pre-rank list is suggesting. People don't like to reach. That's why drafting Breece Hall at 3.4 feels uncomfortable to people, because the pre-rank list is not confirming that it's a good pick. Use the pre-rank list. Manipulate the ADP data. Don't draft off the ADP data. But if anybody thinks Breece Hall's not going to smash from 3rd drafted player value for your team as your 3rd player that you draft in the 3rd round, if you think Breece Hall is going to struggle to smash at that value, it's going to be a fun season watching all the Breece Hall doubters funnel back in going, wow, this guy's phenomenal. I can't believe I questioned him at 3.4. I can't believe I thought it was a bad pick. I can't believe I thought I was reaching. Reaching all depends on where he's ranked on the pre-rank list. If he's ranked 20 overall players away, you don't have to take him when you're on the clock. If he's ranked 6 spots away in the throne draft, he was 4 running back spots away. And people said, you reached on Breece Hall, you should have waited. We couldn't have waited. You're not reading the room, Bob. You're not reading the room at all, because Breece Hall was the 4th ranked running back. He was not going to make it all the way down from 3.1 down to 4.12 when he was the 4th ranked running back in a running back hungry environment. There's no way on God's green earth he was going to fall. All right. Still plays for the Jags. Who are we talking about? ETN. Don't tell me you're clowning on ETN. Don't tell me you're clowning on ETN. You take Breece over Montgomery? Absolutely. I don't blame you for wanting Montgomery, but if you're shocked I'm taking Breece Hall over Montgomery, and I'm not shocked that you're taking Montgomery, like, where's the reciprocation, Mark? Why can't you have an opinion and I have an opinion, Mark? And maybe you're okay with it. I don't know. Maybe I'm yelling at you for nothing, Mark. But Montgomery and Breece Hall, you could easily argue that on either side. There's no craziness to that. There's no craziness to preference between absolute running back one monster, potential monster like Breece Hall, and a guy that has proven to be a top 5 running back in the past. You could easily argue Monty or Breece Hall. I'm going to argue Breece Hall 10 times out of 10 over Monty, though. I wouldn't even mix it up. I wouldn't say, yeah, it's pretty close. I'll take Monty in one league and Brees in the other. I'll divide it up. No, I'm taking Brees Hall all day long. Brees Hall can literally explode from third drafted player value for your team as your third player selected. Smitty drafted Barkley and Fournette yesterday. I did. I timed out, and I drafted Barkley and Fournette on one team on ESPN when I timed out with back-to-back picks. You know, it happens. It was the only time I've ever mock drafted either one of them, and it made me sick. Shots out to your Mexican Coca-Cola. It's better. It is good. This stuff is amazing. Stuff is amazing. I do need to run, though. I need to run. Appreciate the super chat. Rock out. Appreciate the super chat. Who else super chatted? The Bruce. Thank you, the Bruce. Yeah, I can't believe I auto-picked. Let's go to the voicemails. The Bruce.
Injury-prone running back would you take a chance on? J.K. Dobbins, Dalvin Cook, or Saquon Barkley? If you had to pick.
Dalvin Cook.
Because I know all three of them are injury-prone.
Yeah, but Dalvin Cook is a potential first rounder. That's an easy question. Dalvin Cook all day long. And you cuff him. I do doubt Dalvin Cook at like top 5 value. I'm really worried about Dalvin Cook there. But when you're talking about those players, none of those players are first round picks. Give me Cook.
Smitty, are you thinking Gibson is going to be the main guy, even with the two capable backs behind him, and McKissick and Robinson?
I think he'll probably start out that way, but if he gets banged up, don't be surprised if they just kind of keep him like, you know, spotty usage like they did last year, or if he gets, you know, I don't know. I'm definitely banking on him at 4th and 5th round value. I don't think you can go wrong. That's pretty baked in risk right there. But if you had to take Gibson in round 2 like we did last year, then you're running a huge risk. But at 4th round value, don't we calibrate our thinking? Don't we reevaluate it and say, yeah, he's a 2nd round running back that you can't take in the 2nd round. He's a 2nd round running back that you can take in round 4 or 5, especially the 4 or 5 turn. Gibson falls to round 5 all the time. That's a pretty nice smash if you ask me.
Why is Jamar Chase falling in drafts? Every draft I've done, if I'm the 10 pick, I usually get him. But if I don't take him at 10, usually he falls to 11. Sometimes he falls into the 2nd round.
I've never seen him.
So my question is, why is Jamar stock falling? Is it something he did, or is it that
something we did?
Other receivers to compete with. By the way,
get burrowed. Bruce, I've done thousands of mock drafts. I don't even know how many mock drafts I've done this year so far. Thousands. And I've never once, the Bruce, seen him fall into the 2nd round. So I don't know what you're looking at there, but I don't know who you're drafting with. Maybe it's a 4-team league or an 8-team league or something like that, but there's just no way I could see him falling into round 2 in any league that I'm doing or any draft I'm doing. Smitty, I got to head out. Smash the like button. Happy 4th of July. Appreciate everybody being in here. We got 96 people here on the 4th of July. Kenny.
Not rankings related, but what wide receivers of the rookie class are you gravitating towards that your guts is telling you, I need this guy on the team? For me, it's Olave and Pierce. Love those kids.
Olave and Pierce, between the two, I like Olave. I like Pierce a lot, but he's more of like a double-digit round. Maybe he becomes your wide receiver 3. I think Olave could be, a couple rounds higher than that. And a guy you might count on a little bit more, a little bit faster, but that's me. But Olave, I like both those guys a lot. I think both of them have a lot of upside. Kenny, thank you, Kenny, for that question.
Does Matt Ryan have any shot of being a top 12 QB this year? He's finished 11th, 12th, and 20th the last 3 years. Is he going to have a resurgence, or is he kind of is what he is at this point?
Yeah, he's always got that potential to be like that not so crafty pick that just scores top 12-ish. I'm not going to bank on it. I think if I'm doing my rankings, I can't put Matt Ryan in my top 12. You have a tough time putting Brady and Rodgers in your top 12. The quarterback pool is so deep. But could he finish 11, 10. I mean, he could. I wouldn't rank him there, but he could definitely finish there.
Hey, Smitty, what do we think of Brandon Ayuk this year? I know we drafted him in the Throne League. I just want to know what your opinion is on how he's going to do this year. Thank you.
I like Brandon Ayuk a lot, but Debo's the number one. Debo would have to get hurt for Ayuk to take over as the number one wide receiver. People love the underdog mentality. A lot of people are like, oh, I think Ayuk is going to be the number one wide receiver by far and outscore Debo even if Debo is healthy. No way. If Debo goes down, though, Ayuk will be used a lot in the Wildcat in the sense that he's going to get footballs on the outside, not running up the gut. Everybody has a wrong definition. People have, I think, painted the running back, wide back, and Debo Samuel's situation last year wrongly. And people come in with a weird expectation about what a wide back's going to mean, what it should mean. But unless Debo gets hurt, Ayuk is going to be like I think you could have 2,000-yard receivers on that San Francisco offense, and people are going to say 2 wide receivers, they're run heavy. Extra game. Trey Lance is not Jimmy G. Shanahan hasn't had a quarterback that could open it up like Trey. So it's going to be, he's got a cannon. I think people are a little misunderstood. They're misunderstood on what's going to be going down in 2022 in San Francisco. It's going to be an absolute balanced attack, and Trey's going to be straight fire. Victor.
What's up, Smitty? Victor here. What are your thoughts on Christian Kirk and in the Jaguars receiving group? Talking about dynasty. Because Trevor Lawrence is going to his second year. He said he's enjoying Christian Kirk. What are your thoughts on the Jaguars receiving
I
group
don't,
and mostly in Christian Kirk?
I mean, Kirk's an okay guy to draft if he falls to the right place, but I'm not even like targeting him as my wide receiver 3. So I'm definitely not going to be on the Kirk train. ETN's the best pass catcher on the offense, and I think that'll continue to be the case. Can Lance support Debo, Kittle, and Ayuk? I mean, almost a funny question to me, Matt. Like, Lance is a top 5 to 7 quarterback in my opinion. So the question is, how much is he going to explode? Not if he's going to explode. So yeah, Trey Lance can handle it. I think Lance will be fine. Debo falling into the late second round is insane to me, says Mark. I love it. He has been falling, though. He has been falling. He used to go like at the 12, 13, 14. Now he's kind of going 15, 16, 17. You won't find him at the bookend picks or anything, but we have seen... Actually, we did see Debo fall into the third round in a mock draft the other day, which was crazy. So maybe he will fall to the bookend second and third round picks. I don't know. If he does, it's a home run. It's a home run. The risk is baked in. Every draft slot Debo falls from 14 is just more baked in risk and less risk, more upside, less risk, more upside, all the way down. You get him as your third drafted player, you might as well just walk straight to the bank. That's absolutely crazy. Christian Kirk stinks. I don't know if he stinks, but he's definitely not worth the money, and he's not a number one wide receiver for a team. So definitely feel like I'm not going near Kirk in 2022. Debo is falling into the late second round. I got that. Lots of mouths to feed in San Francisco. There are, but there's a different quarterbacks, a different offense. It's an absolute explosion about to happen. So get ready for a different look. Everybody expecting that the Niners to look the same, and that you're just going to get Jimmy G's production. You're going to get somebody that blows Jimmy G out of the water. Trey Lance has a cannon. He can throw for multiple 300-yard games back to back. He can have those 2 or 3 touchdown games. He could have 240 on through the air and 70 on the ground with a touchdown and have 3 total touchdowns. This guy could have like 550 to 650 rushing, even if he's not trying really hard. He's trying to hold back from running the football, and he could have 6 to 8 touchdowns on the ground too. He's going to be an absolute fantasy football monster. Kirk has bust potential. I agree. James Conner won't last the month. I think he could last longer than that, but like, do I fear injury? Yeah, John, I do. It's kind of why I don't go near him. Hit the like button. We have 96 of you in here still. Subscribe if you're new. I'm gonna be bouncing out here in a second because it's 4th of July.
Hit that subscribe button if you're new, and wipe your feet at the door.
Turning the phone lines off. Any final calls?
Call into the show. Dial 602 NFL. Dong.
Kyle.
Hey, Smitty, a lot of people are giving praise to Sutton because his air yards over Judy that had the more targets. Which way are you leaning?
I mean, I'm leaning Judy. Route running, rapport seems really good. Not that the rapport isn't good with Sutton too, but I lean Judy. I like Judy a lot coming out of college. I like Sutton coming out of college too, to be honest, but I definitely lean toward Judy, but he's got a little more risk, to be honest, but you know.
Hey, Smitty, who do you think will be the starting running back for the Buffalo Bills, and do you think it'll be worth grabbing in the later rounds?
Kind of stay away from that situation other than maybe getting Cook if he fell to the right value. But Singletary will most certainly have the advantage and the edge. You know, rookie coming in and supplanting a guy that did as well as Singletary did at the end of the year, not likely unless Singletary gets banged up. If he gets banged up, it's all fair game at that point. So it kind of depends on that. Let me see real quickly. Lance Kittle stack. I like that. Judy to the moon, says Kenny. I got my YouTube exclusive members in here. Kenny, Ricky, the Bruce, Blackbeard, Macho Taco. We got no Ron Navy today, I don't think. We got a grip of you in here. If you guys want to become YouTube exclusive members as well, you can click that blue join button on the front, the main homepage of the YouTube channel, or you can click this link right here, and I'm going to pin it. This is how you could become a YouTube exclusive member right now. Become a YouTube exclusive member. I'm going to pin it in the chat, and you guys can just click that. There's two options for you. We have now, they're called Discord calls instead of Zoom calls, but every Sunday there's a plan on there. The higher plan allows you to get on to 2 Discord video calls every single Sunday. Halftime of the morning games, halftime of the Sunday night game. And we jump on there and do 2 30 to 40 minute calls on Discord, and it's absolutely phenomenal. But if you just want the emojis and you just want to support the channel, there's the $1.99 holler option, and that gives you exclusive chat capabilities. Oh, Ron's here. That gives you exclusive chat capabilities once we get closer to the season and we have to lock the chat down. Not for the whole show or anything, but like a 20-minute segment we're gonna dedicate to the YouTube exclusive members and answer those questions and keep the chat a little bit smoother for a 20-30 minute period. Ron Navy is in the building, soaking all the info up. Appreciate you, Ron. Hall of a job, Smitty. Thank you. YouTube member here, Seth. I don't think so, Seth. It's not showing you are. It doesn't. You don't. I don't think. Click on the link, Seth. I don't think you're a YouTube member. You might be a subscriber to the channel, which we totally appreciate, and I appreciate you. We're talking about the YouTube memberships. There's a link pinned. It gives you the extra emojis and all that. Oh, Seth, you're talking about thefantasyfootballshow.com. Attaboy. Yeah, that's a different. We're talking about something different, but I do appreciate you, Seth, of being a thefantasyfootballshow.com member. We're talking about the YouTube exclusive membership that is pinned in the chat. It gives you the extra emojis. It's a YouTube thing, but it's something you buy through YouTube. It's YouTube takes care of it all. But Seth, appreciate you being a thefantasyfootballshow.com member. Anybody else that wants to be a thefantasyfootballshow.com member like Seth, get on over to thefantasyfootballshow.com and get your membership. Okay, we're out of here for today. I don't want to say it was a short show. We went 15 minutes over. This is an hour show, but we usually go like an hour or 2 hours, and I don't know. We've been going like an hour and a half every time now. But get on over to thefantasyfootballshow.com like Seth and become a lifetime member, become a yearly member, whatever kind of member you want to become. I also have my text line. Seth, are we texting yet? Have you sent me your phone number yet? I have on-demand text service that Seth just purchased, and he'll be able to get one-on-one access to me through the text line. So if you want to do that, go to thefantasyfootballshow.com. Comment below. I get back to every question in my comment section of each video once it starts off with 0 comments after the video is over. And click on the link, DFS Play Underdog Fantasy. Swaggy is a part of the membership.
Let's go, mashed potatoes!
He just became a YouTube exclusive member. Appreciate that, Swaggy. Drop some emojis, Swaggy. Show them off. Show them off. Yes, got the text. Attaboy, Seth. Appreciate you, Seth. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Appreciate every one of you. Happy 4th of July. Be safe. Stay safe. See you tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern. I'll be here tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern, unless there's breaking news, I go live. I probably will go live tonight. I imagine late. We'll have to see. It's 4th of July. I don't know if I will. No promises on that. If not, I'll see you all tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern. Or earlier, if there's breaking news, buddy boys. If there's breaking news, you know your boy goes live. What happens when there's breaking news? Smitty walks into the studio and says, "Studio on, Zigster." And then the Zigmeister turns on the studio. Your boy Smitty goes live. That's how we do it. That's how Dad did it. We're doing it live. Appreciate all you. Happy 4th. Be safe. Get your thefantasyfootballshow.com membership. Peace out.
Until next time, Bubba. Catch you later, Bubba.